Hello again, good morning. Here's my book, In Search of You, Letters to a Daughter. I'm very thrilled to have the copies, and I thought I'd read you three passages. The first one from the first part of the book, which is called Before, and I'll read you a letter from the second part, which is called Between Worlds, and then I'll read you a third letter from the final section, which is called Afterwards. So would you like me to read you a story? Just settle back and enjoy. So from the first section, I wrote this on the 4th of April 2013, so this is a few months before Jasmine, my daughter, died. What a joy to see you this morning. My timing is good as you are just back from your art class. The painting is still wet, so you have it propped against the radiator. It's gorgeous. The sky is dazzling in shades of yellow and orange and makes a perfect contrast with the blue and green hills and turquoise sea. It is beautiful. I stepped back to look at it from a distance and noticed the shape of a dolphin, its underbelly curving beneath the sea. You are thrilled to see the dolphin as you hadn't planned it. You have had an affinity with dolphins and whales for so long as I can remember. Your eyes are shining and you laugh and tuck your hair away behind an ear. I'm thinking of having an exhibition of my artwork in town. What a great idea! Will you have an open evening? We are getting quite carried away with ourselves. Oh yes, we'll have sparkling wine and canapes. This is so nice. We are a team again. You aren't pushing me away as you have done on numerous occasions. Imagine that, Jasmine. I forgot about your cancer this morning. I didn't think that was possible. We're going back to the hospital in a couple of days for your lung to be drained. Emma will join us there. Love, Mum. Emma is Jasmine's sister, my eldest daughter. So the second letter I'm going to read you is Between Worlds, from the second part. Sweetheart, I doubt I will ever stop thinking about you. Have you safely left this world and crossed over into the next? I have one last appointment with the chaplain, and after that I shall wend my way home. I'm not looking forward to getting back, knowing that you will not be there. I'm just about functioning, though not yet firing on all cylinders. I'm still wrapped in a bubble of shock, frozen and numb inside. It feels weird going to the hospice without you being there. Muppet stays in the car. Muppet's my dog. The chaplain is at reception waiting for me. On our way to the chapel we pass your room, and I find myself wondering who is occupying it now. Just then a tall, rather thin man comes out, closes the door behind him, brushing away a tear. I tell the chaplain how dreadful I feel. Of course you do, he says, and when I say how uncertain I am of any future without you, he nods. And then we talk about grief. Let it rip, he advises. This pain is love. Allow the grief to unfold in whatever way it wants to. There is a healthy pain associated with grieving that will dissolve in time. However, when grief is held back and not expressed, the emotions stay locked in the body and can cause physical and emotional illness. So allow yourself to feel everything. With his encouragement, I let go a little more. The knot in my stomach slowly uncurls, and I cry and cry. I shall be sad saying goodbye to the chaplain, and although he says I can come back any time, I know I won't. We are done now. I needed to be reminded that it is healthy to grieve, because in my family we never showed our feelings, let alone talked about them. If anything, feelings were seen as a weakness. My parents were the war generation, so stoicism and a stiff upper lip were very much the order of the day. As an army officer, my father was well trained in this, though it must have been difficult for him at times, as he was a deeply sensitive man, a poet and a writer. Whenever I went to stay, it was always Dad who picked flowers from the garden and arranged them in a vase by my bed. I have a lot to think about on my journey home. There's no rush. I find myself appreciating the beauty of the crisp white covering on the ground, the frosted branches of trees, and the sense of stillness that comes in winter when everything slows down. Muppet sleeps most of the way home and wakes just as we turn into my road. How will we manage without Jasmine, Muppet? He looks up at me and barks. I swear that dog is nearly human. Although his eyes are clouding over with cataracts, he is still lively, and his presence enormously comforting. I am so glad to have him. Love, Mum. So these letters really help me move through the grief and feel Jasmine close to me. And I always felt better after writing to her. So this is the third letter to you, written in February, is 2 years after she died. Dear Jasmine, I'm still in pyjamas and dressing gown, and it was like this yesterday. It's okay though, it's just how it is. Tomorrow will be different again. I've been reading about the different stages of grief, however, I'm not sure any of it applies. Each day is different and the grief needs tending, so I feel a bit like a shepherd watching over her sheep. The emotions still course through my body in huge waves, though fortunately they don't last long. They are a bit of a mystery, as I have no idea what triggers them. Grief itself is a bit of a mystery. It needs a body to move through for it to gradually dissolve. So when a wave comes, I breathe through it, sometimes talking myself through it. You should hear me, Jasmine. Yesterday I was sitting in the car, breathing and talking to myself. Shoppers were milling around me, getting on with their own business. Nobody noticed me. There is a bit more space between the waves these days, so it's definitely getting easier. I'm glad because I don't want to carry this grief around for the rest of my life. In fact, I couldn't bear it. I'd rather not exist in survival mode. Even though it's a way off at the moment, I want eventually to feel I am thriving. It's early days, so let's see how this all plays out. If only there were more conversations about grief, there would be much less fear around it. Grief is love that has nowhere to go, and it hurts like crazy. Only 3 days ago, I met a bereaved mother who confided that she is nervous about feeling better because this might be a betrayal of her son who died. I sense her son would be delighted if his mother found a sense of peace and enjoyed some happy times. Goodness knows how people manage a bereavement when they have to go back to work. The official time off for grief is 3 days. What nonsense is that? And how does a couple manage when both parties are grieving, usually quite differently? I guess we have to keep communicating, yet this is hard when you sometimes can't make any sense of what's going on in the turmoil. Goodness, we need support to cope with the craziness and unpredictability of deep grief. This is just a short note, as I know I'll feel better for writing. I'll get dressed now, as Muppet needs a walk. I'm going to make a big pot of soup later that will last for 3 days. Soup is very comforting. Love, Mum. So I think I'll end the letters and reading to you there. It's really nice reading them, really lovely. My website is up and running, patsyfreeman.com. You'll find quite a lot of information on it, and some grief support with videos. And also, if you would like a copy of the book, you can press the button Buy Now. I noticed that the postage is a little more expensive if you buy through the publishers, more than Amazon, but I'd much rather support a publishing company rather than the big wigs of Amazon. But over to you on that. So Thank you very much. Really nice connecting with you all again. And see you soon. Bye.